Welcome today, guys, to Discovering Bikes. On today's episode, we have this super cool 2013 LML Star Deluxe 125. This is lent to us by a very good friend of mine. I'm just going to leave him anonymous for now, but as you guys can see here, we have the bike in front of us. Yes, I know it looks like a classic, but it's actually a modern bike. It's a 125 two-stroke, but with the bare basics. So one of the coolest things about this bike is it's got a spare wheel here. As you guys can see, it's hidden away underneath and with a toolbox on it. It's also got a foot brake and a gearbox, a 4-speed gearbox. Underneath here we've got, let me get it open, we've got your fuel and your oil cap. I'm not entirely sure what this guy is. And then we got pretty much all the basics. You've got your little storage container here. Your normal dials and indicators and the brake and your clutch here with your gear selector here and not on the floor. And yeah, what's also quite scary but quite interesting is that it's got a front drum brake instead of the normal discs like everyone else has. Also, this bike being super old school, it's got a choke, a fuel selector to have it off, on or reserve, and of course the good old Kickstarter. So let's fire this thing up and see how it goes. So first procedure is to there. Gotta make sure you're neutral, no clutch. And we everywhere. Now into first and off we go. Okay, so let's see how she do. This is the LML Star Deluxe, and we're just going to go for a ride. We're going to go through a bit of traffic and just see how this goes. Not a particularly quick bike, being 7 horsepower and 10 Newton meters, but it's got a lot of low down torque, which is quite fun. The only issue is the stopping power. This thing stops whenever it feels like it. You can hit the brake and it just kind of lets it know when you intend to stop. Second gear, into third, there we go. So I mean, this is also quite a sweet little city slicker bike. It's kind of modern. There's first. Modern, simple, easy, basic, built in the time when people just wanted things to go easily and not to be modern and complicated. It's a 4-speed manual with a very interesting setup. Instead of having a normal clutch on the hand and lever on the foot, you've got your clutch on the hand and lever on the hand. So you get a wrist workout, and you've got to be kind of ambidextrous to ride this thing. Instead of just climbing on and going in the normal position, you know, 1 foot for brake, 1 foot for gear, you've got to kind of, you know, use both hands. My wrist is already sore after not even 30 seconds of riding. I may need to do some wrist strengthen, but yeah, this is quite a sweet little bike. It's got an 8-litre fuel tank doing 2.2 litres to the 100, meaning you can ride forever, and obviously you never really go faster than say 50, so it's just nice and easy. You can just cruise to work and home and go to the shops. It's got a nice little storage facility just below here. It's got everything you need. The mirrors, you can see a lot out of. The speedometer is quite basic. There's no rev counter. It's just your fuel, your lights, your indicator, you know, the kind of bare necessities. Yeah, the only other complaint I do have about the Scoot is the seat stiffness. It is granite spec, so you will definitely feel it. So like we just went over some bumps there. I felt exactly how big they were. I mean, someone could put some coins in the road and you could ride over them and tell them what year they were minted. And this is also quite cool for just commuting, you know, or just going for a nice public holiday ride as we're doing here. I am a bit nervous to overtake, as I don't feel this has the power to go past and go back in. So I'm just going to sit here happily and just cruise. The tire that is on here is a 3.5 by 10 inch tire. It is a vintage style tire, which it looks cool. I don't know how it handles in the wet, but I mean, we're not really going to test that. We're just going to have a nice little cruise along the promenade here and just ride along and see kind of what we come across. We're not going to be, you know, dragging me, hitting some sweet lap times and seeing how fast we can make this thing go. We're just going to ride along and just enjoy it. See some cool cars, get my nuts made into mash, and just have a bit of fun. It is also quite a cool learning experience for me to ride a bike like this. I'm not used to the kind of classic ride style. I've got a 2005 BWS, and that you get on, press a button, start it, and off you go. Very, very simple, very easy. This, you've got to kind of build up compression, and then you've got to kind of kick it. Luckily, being a 125 two-stroke, it's not going to kick your leg back. It's quite simple. Ooh, apologies guys, I'm just standing up here as I go over these bumps so we don't watch this insane blurry footage. The one thing that I'm not such a fan of on this bike is the storage compartment. It's not big enough to fit a helmet in. Some of the under seat ones are actually really nice to, oh goodness, the under seat ones are quite nice to use because you can fit a helmet in normally, but this one you can fit your cell phone, your wallet, your keys, and that's it. So let me tell you guys a little bit about LML. They are basically a poverty spec Vespa. Vespa gave them the rights to produce parts and build scooters under license, and what they did is they built them. Oh, there's a little gap here. So back to what I was saying, what LML did is they built these scooters in India. So instead of making them fancy, or making them in Italy and making them all fancy and full of electronical issues, they built them in India. And basically to allow them to be more affordable in third world countries. South Africa got a handful of them. They are pretty much the same scooter from 2010 to 2020 basically. I know that they were all imported. There are a couple floating around that are slightly later years, but they are all pretty much the same. LML did what Piaggio, however you pronounce it, should have done, where they took a blueprint for a scooter and printed it out in mass amounts. Obviously it went to India and all the other third world countries. Where Piaggio just trying to brand themselves as a top brand, you know, more expensive, etc. Where these guys took something that works and just made it cheaper and more affordable and easier to use. And obviously they are very, very popular. LML is quite a large brand overseas, not so much here in South Africa because we are quite different and quite weird. But it works, people love them. You put these up on the market, they do sell. I see that there are probably about 15 of them for sale at the current time. They range anywhere from 10 to 30 grand for one with 5 kilometers on it, which I think is insane. It's one of those things that people hope that they get the number, but in realistic terms, it's kind of more what someone's prepared to pay. My overall rating for this in its class would be power. There we go. Power would be a solid 3. These aren't the most powerful bikes. I have ridden other scooters that make a little bit more power and a little bit more energetic to make the power. Comfort would be a solid 2. Because sitting on this like granite spec seat is not the best. The suspension's also got no rebound. It's really not fantastic. I mean, they've pretty much made put a plank of wood under this thing and, you know, said, cool, it connects to the ground, off you go. Your instrument cluster, your dash layout is good. I do like the simplicity of it. I do wish that there would be a rev counter, obviously, to see what RPM you are at in certain gears. Brakes. Ooh, those, does this, you know, it begs the question of, does this thing even have brakes? There are no discs. It's a front drum and a rear drum with a hamster that weighs a lot on it that tries to stop you quickly. Build quality, solid 9 out of 10. These are built in the times when people actually built things to last. And yes, being very basic, it's kind of a win-win. You know, there's less to go wrong, less for, you know, some auto electrician to try and repair. It's very simple, very easy, basic stuff. Would I buy this if I was buying it as a daily commute? Probably. Would I buy this if I wanted to look cool riding around Cape Town? Definitely. Would I buy this instead of buying a Vespa? Definitely. Even though they are the same thing in theory, like Audi VW, being a little bit more affordable would be a little bit more beneficial. So guys, on that note, I'd like to say thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and be sure to leave a comment if you guys would like to see more. Peace!